You know what we call this in the United States? God's ketchup, right there.
I've never heard that before. I think he just made it up.
Is this how the other half lives all the time?
One of those things just never happened.
When somebody rips one, you know it, and it's not yours.
It was like Bugs Bunny when you like smelled the carrot soup.
That is the most random thing. What are you talking about?
It's impossible. The OverSeasoned podcast is back. Are you sick of us yet? I hope not, because now that Tony and I have figured out how to record remotely, we're never, ever going to leave your side. Hopefully not, anyway. How was your weekend, Tony? How was the Halloween trick-or-treat fiesta?
It was good. It was good. And we went to the city, New York City, over the weekend. So I've got some stories and thoughts about restaurants in the city as well.
Now, when you are, just to touch on this for a minute, do you have any, Tony, like candies that every once in a while when your kiddo comes back with the bounty of things, is there ever a candy that you're like, ooh, I should steal one of these?
You know what? He doesn't like chocolate right now. So all the chocolates are for me. So I don't have to pick and choose or figure out what to hide, right? He likes the hard sugar candies. That's his jam.
Like Jolly Ranchers, that kind of thing?
All the kind of stuff that takes him forever to eat and just totally ruin his teeth from sucking on them for hours. Yes.
Understood.
So I get all the chocolates.
When I was a kid, I was always a huge fan of Baby Ruths. Do you remember those?
Of course.
But I don't know if they still make those.
I'm sure they still make those.
I haven't seen one in a
seen
long
one?
time. So I have, dude, it used to be a part of that bundle. I feel like every mother in the U.S. has bought that bundle of like the little mini size ones, right? Like the little mini size bars. Like the Kit Kat comes in there, and sometimes it's the Milky Way, and sometimes it's Snickers. But Baby Ruth,
I'm partial to Almond Joy. I like an Almond Joy. That's my favorite. I didn't see any of those in the stash this year, but if there are Almond Joys, I'm definitely swiping those.
I see. Wow, it's very tropical of you. I like it. I like it. Well,
I'm a big fan of the coconut. I'm a big fan of the sweet coconut desserts. You know this. If there's ever like a coconut pie or something on the menu or any kind of coconutty thing, I'm grabbing that.
Well, just in case anybody ever needs to win some favor for Tony Iazzi, now you know exactly how to do so.
Exactly.
It's perfect to know. So, Tony, over the weekend, we have a fresh visitor for us in Buenos Aires that, you know, of course, the customary thing when somebody lands in a brand new city, right away it's time to, you know, go over the classic sites, maybe do that Sunday market everybody goes to, like, you know, we did San Telmo and all this stuff. But an interesting subject came up, and it's one that I think has many different nuances to it. But it's one that I, you know, thought long and hard about. And let me start off with a little story time experience. So when I first had moved down to Sarasota, before ever like really having any roots there and just visiting mom, I remember one of the restaurants that was recommended to us just by like the locals, or like, let's just say, you know, anybody who knew of Sarasota, which there's not that many people, but they would always recommend this place called Columbia, right? It's in a very busy part of town. It's in like the, you know, it's like a big circle with high-end shopping, boutiques, and then a bunch of like very busy restaurants. It's a part of town where everybody kind of flocks to. It's beautiful. There's live music. There's like, you know, the classic Black and Fish restaurant that always has a bucket of Coronas. Then you've also got like, what's that very famous, not Maui Jim, but there's that very famous shirt brand that has like the flowers and stuff. Oh,
I'm not sure.
There's like
it's
a
not Tommy
super...
Bahama?
Yes, it is Tommy Bahama. Tommy Bahama has a restaurant. It's called St. Armand Circle, right? And so this is, you know, the part of town where I think most kids migrate to because there's live music and stuff at nighttime, but it's also where families go. It is certainly like a meeting point, right, for Sarasota. And so I did really fall in love with this restaurant called Columbia. And they have a very famous salad they do, which is a whole nother episode. But it's like iceberg lettuce. They do it tableside. They have like Worcestershire sauce and like olive oil with roasted garlic in it and a ton of Parmesan they put on top. It's essentially like a garbage man Caesar salad, just no mayonnaise. It's more like vinaigrette based. Reminds me very much of the Olive Garden salad. Like whoever once went to Colombia, because it's been there for like 100 years. Whoever once went to Colombia probably got inspired for the Olive Garden salad there. It's got like a very homey, suburban salad thing going on. And I love it. I love it. It's like
How's Columbia fitting into this mix?
well, Columbia is the name of the restaurant.
I get
Columbia is
that.
the name of the and so I'm just saying that when you their most famous item because usually a lot of times
Has
these
nothing to
famous
do with Colombian food.
so it's got like some Spanish food. It does have some Colombian stuff. They'll do empanadas and stuff, but it's really just like the global interpretation of Latino and Spanish classics. They'll have like gambas al ajillo. They'll do empanadas. They take a lot of liberty as to what Colombia itself actually is, right? And now thinking about it, it's a really interesting thing since we've been to Colombia so many times. I don't think there's a single Colombian dish on the entire fucking menu, right? It's a place called Colombia that doesn't serve Colombian food. It's like new wave Spanish food, is how I would describe it. So anyway, my mom doesn't like the restaurant very much, right? She's always like the rice is not the right way, it's undercooked, or the empanadas are greasy. It's one of those things where like you take a Texas boy out to a barbecue restaurant that's like in New York, they're always going to have their opinions. And of course, I take my mom to a Hispanic restaurant, and she's got way too many opinions about the food, the prep. Oh, they didn't toast up the pork belly enough. You know what I mean? There's always something.
It's not
wrong.
for her.
Like,
It's for people who know nothing about it.
right, and which makes me feel really sad because I really like the restaurant. So it makes me feel like
What do you like about the restaurant?
what do I like about the restaurant? First off,
Sounds
doesn't
like
matter
Fat
if
Kid
it's-
Central. Sounds like Fat Kid Central. Like you can just go there
Well-
and get whatever you want whenever you want.
when you go to like a mall, I don't know when the last time you went to a mall, but there's like always like that court of restaurants. Like they might have a Fuddruckers, they might have like a Capitol Grill. There's always that one restaurant that's just like fucking packed. Like everything else could be like just barely, a table or two. And then you look out and there's that one restaurant that's got like a line and people are there and it's like always like a fight to get to the hostess stand. That's Colombia. And in most cases, it's annoying as fuck. Honestly, like I don't want to fight people to get in line. I don't want to fight people for that perfect patio seat. But it's like a scene, right? It's like you walk up, there's music pumping, the servers are all running around with their heads cut off. And I don't know, that vibe to me feels like okay, like I'm here. I'm at the place where everybody wants to be. The food, look, I love that salad. The salad, Tony, is a ton of garlic oil, Worcestershire sauce, a bunch of Parmesan, and then they put like sliced pieces of ham and turkey, and it's iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, and Parmesan cheese, right? So it's essentially the addition of tomato and ham.
Like a chef salad.
It's a chef salad with the beginnings of a Caesar salad that they forgot to put the egg yolk in. So it's still like zesty and garlicky, and I think they might even add anchovies in there. It's very
Really?
flavorful. Yeah, it's very flavorful. So I love that salad. They do gambas al ajillo where it's like sizzling in the plate. They do this awesome lobster flatbread with like bisque and romesco and like, is it the best food ever? No, but it's busy as fuck. The vibe is always high. And I feel like there are a lot of things about a busy restaurant that to me are attractive, especially in the dead of summer in Sarasota where everything's dead. No place is busy. And you look at one place, and I got to tell you, the one thing that goes through my mind when I'm seeing this restaurant is, okay, I can trust that grouper. Because they probably
They're running
fucking
through the
sold it.
inventory. Right.
Yes.
It's either
Yes.
that or it's coming out of a freezer. So it can go either way.
Well, that as well. You're right. But it's a freezer that at least it's not going to come out of the freezer and sit there for 4 days. It's going to come out of the freezer and probably get used that day or the next day. And so now I've come up against this conundrum, and it happens in Philly. It happens in Buenos Aires, as evidenced this past weekend. And it also happens in Sarasota. Nobody wants to join me when I suggest, hey, let's go to Colombia. Nobody wants to join me when I suggest, hey, let's go to Park. Hey, I also suggested to these guys,
Park,
hey,
really, in Philly.
Yes, and it's because all my fucking like hoity-toity friends are like, oh, that's just a tourist trap, or it's just a high-end diner, or it's just like, and I'm like, they're like, that carpaccio's been sitting on a speed rack all day. To which I want to answer, yeah, it's because they prep them at 10 o'clock and they're gone at 11.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know how many carpaccios they're going through? Would you rather that carpaccio or the one that's going to take 45 minutes that they're trying to figure out what edges to cut off at a not very busy restaurant because it looks like it's been sitting? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think it is about restaurant people and this aversion to the busy restaurants? Do you have any color to add there?
Well, I don't know if it's busy, but you can certainly tell the quality. Does it cut deep enough in a way, right? Is it trying to push the envelope, or is it just is that your comfortable pair of Levi's, right? That you've had forever and you can throw them on anytime you want and feel comfy, right? Which there's a place for.
See, I love Park, and I love Balthazar. I love those busy ass.
But there are the places you got to separate them. There are places that are definitely tourist. There are places that you wouldn't want to go to because it's just a gimmick, right?
Sure.
The gimmick of a place like Park is they're just doing great food at I would assume, somewhat reasonable cost, or at least it makes sense, right?
Yes.
But they're not like pushing the envelope as far as like cuisine goes, right? They know what they do. It's established food. They're not trying to like come up with some fancy new special necessarily all the time, which I appreciate as well many times.
Right. So yeah,
because
so
you're
I was
right.
thinking,
That one who's like cutting the carpaccio to order, or whatever the kind of thing is, right? That's you end up there on the day that the carpaccio cutter isn't there, or the slicer is broken, or something just kind of goes off the rails quickly, which I kind of experienced this weekend as well. Not at a busy restaurant, but just at like a fine dining establishment type restaurant.
Oh, interesting. So let's dive into that. So New York is, how often are you getting to New York these days, Tony? Because you live in the suburbs, right? And New York, the city itself with a child.
I'm in a small town about an hour and a half north of New York City. So I get in on occasion. I would say once every other month. I spend the weekend there.
Okay. And with a child, going to a place like New York has to be a pain in the ass. Like,
well, interesting you bring this up, because we actually had the opportunity to go out, two adults, to lunch without the child, right? So we went to the House of the, we went to a restaurant called the House of the Red Pearl in the Tin Building, which is really beautiful and nice. It's very close to where I used to live there, but it didn't exist when I lived there. And it's like beautiful meats, cheeses, marketplace, everything you could want in this, like for a not grab and go, I'm sorry, but like as a shopping experience, 2 blocks away from my old house, where you could just grab like 2 beautiful steaks and some veg and pastry, whatever. It's all there. I feel very cheated that it didn't exist when I was living there full time. But it's awesome. But they also have a few restaurants in this place.
Okay. I was going to ask you, is it like an Italy thing where you can do your market thing and also eat?
Yeah, totally. It's a little bit less busy than an Eataly, I think, just because of its location. It's like kind of off on the periphery of the.
Speaking of
island.
Tourist traps, that sounds like a positive attribute of this restaurant.
Yeah, I don't know. Tourist trap I think has a certain connotation. There's one thing for like just a busy, formulaic-ish, perhaps, type of restaurant versus like something I'm sure that there's, say, a restaurant in Philadelphia that Pat and Gino's, right? That's a tourist trap. Right? That's where it's like you just got to check it off the list. If you're reading from a guide and you're in New York or Philly for 48 hours, what are the things you have to do? And you check these things off the list to get the photo up and say you've been there.
before we dive into this market experience, we've had Pat's and Geno's, you and I. And we say it like it's one restaurant because there's Pat's and there's Geno's.
Yeah.
But you and I have had Pat's and Geno's. And as much of a tourist trap as it may be, as much as a looking down upon or a frown you might get from a Philadelphian when you go to a Pat's and Geno's, there's nothing like a 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning Pat's and Geno's run when you forget that peppers are hot and accidentally put way too much hot cherry pepper on that fucking cheesesteak. You know what I mean? Like, there's something. It's almost like a coming of. It's like it's a different understanding of the city. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you have to go through that to like be to be able to talk the shit.
Well, that's when it's the only place open. It's just necessity at that point.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
You haven't planned in advance. It's just what's there. You'd eat anything.
Correct.
Thank God that's the closest thing, right?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
Could get worse.
It could.
So anyway, we go to this restaurant, and it's I think it's expensive. Chinese food, very nice, very well done.
A restaurant within this market.
Beautiful. Yes, it's a very small too. I would say 30 to 40, probably 40 seats. They kind of have these big banquettes where you could fit 2 people or 5 people in them, right? So it's kind of hard to judge. And this couple came in after us, and with a stroller, and I would say a 3-year-old. And we're
man.
like
Shit.
part of it was like, people in the city just know how to like work it with kids. I'm like, just wait, let's just see. Because I looked at the menu ahead of time going to this place, and it's all very specific food. There's no just,
Hunan chicken.
I don't know. Right. It's very specific dishes, right? It's very
like Szechuan style, like
yeah, it kind of runs the gamut. We had like what was it called? Let me get the name down here properly. We had a sweet and sour prawns, which was awesome, and mala chicken, which I'd never had before. It was a little bit spicy, but kind of just like breaded breast eggette almost type things, like little fillets. It was, it was
like
good.
a fancy tender, like a fancy tender.
Like a fancy tender. It was exactly a fancy tender. And I was thinking, I had ordered them. I haven't received them yet, but I'm like, maybe that's what the kids will get, right? That without the peppers, if they'll do it.
So this was more than one kid.
It was 2 children. One was in a stroller, that young, and one was sitting, but probably 3, pushing 4, kind of thing.
Just
and it was like
waiting on deck to ruin your experience.
No, but I was like, I'm like, well, families in the city, I feel like I'd lost since I hadn't lived in the city for so long, like, did I lose my ability to like bring kids? Because first off, I see it, I'm like, no way. Like, what are these people doing? What are they thinking? Get out of here. First off, we're thinking we're having this night kind of like date experience in the middle of the day, and then in rolls like the 3-year-old right next to us. And they're going through the menu and asking questions. And I think the father had to run out with the child because it was the stroller child because it was already crying 2 minutes in. And so the mom was running through the menu and asking questions and, not getting anywhere to what her child would even come close to enjoying. Right. So they end up leaving, getting out of there. And I was kind of
so
like,
they didn't even get food.
No, what were they going to get? Like spicy chicken
feet, boiled chicken feet,
fermented mango, right? Exactly. So they got out, and I was wanted to talk to you about it a little bit from a front of the house perspective. Like, where do you think that the front of the house play? Like, should they have even gotten to the table, or did they do a disservice to that family by even allowing them to get to the table? It's like, why don't you take a look at the menu first and see if there's things on here that you could eat, right? Instead of having to do the rigmarole where you sit them down, you pour waters, the whole thing, right? To 20 minutes later, they got up and they're out. Now their kids are starving. They don't have anything to eat. They're like, hunting around for stuff. So I was curious what you thought if they can find them, right?
Right. Well, the mozzarella stick restaurant doesn't have seats. That's the
not
problem.
There, right?
Oh, right. So
how far would you let a family like that get if they just don't? Right? If they're it's not going to quite work out.
I often grapple with what it's like to be a front of the house diplomat these days, considering all of the offense people seem to take fashionable these days. Like, as an example, like, hey, we don't have a vegan version of something for you guys. Like, is that the right way to say it? Like, I don't know. I feel like the world now is so much more on edge.
I know that's why I was like, do you just wait for them to figure it out? Because
yes. Well, because dude, think about
like, would you like to look at the menu? We don't have a child's menu. Literally, we don't have it. It does not exist. Right. Everything is sweet and sour, Szechuan buttons, fermented. Everything is like
spicy
and palatable for a child.
But just imagine, like, because I could
just even the dessert, even the mango dessert had like chili powder on top. It was delicious, but it's like
it's a specific kind of Chinese food experience. Well, bro, listen, I can only imagine, like, the one time that you try to preemptively warn a table is the one time that you're touching that one Upper West Side fucking asshole with his family that lives in fucking, Fujian during the summers. And it's like, oh.
That...
You know what I mean? Like, you're like, hey, by the way, just so you know, abalone is like the closest thing we have to a chicken tender. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm the foremost expert in abalone, just so you know. And by the way, you misspelled this.
So let them figure it. Well, this was kind of preceded by the fact that I think I've mentioned this before, but I feel like, and someday we'll stop mentioning the pandemic as like the start and finish of everything. But it feels like the staff is much younger in general, or at least I don't want to say less experienced, but it seems like the staff and is young, like more entry level into these restaurants rather than, everybody was young, like 20, under 30, right? That was running the floor, right? So it's also, even the host was like impeccably dressed, it was all very nice experience at that point, but I don't know if they've had that experience many times, right?
How long has this place been open?
I don't know, maybe 2-3 years, something like that.
Okay. It's kind of like that, like the other day I come to, when I went to the restaurant with my buddy and they told us that they wouldn't cook the bone-in strip steak to over medium rare. And then we ended up getting steaks that we wanted medium rare and they came out medium, right? Like the skirt steak that we wanted medium rare that came out pink. It's one of those things, look, I feel like the more you try to put guardrails on people's experience, the more it's your fault when it doesn't go their way. I don't know what it is about that, but in every experience, dude, where
people can pushing against it. They got to push against it, right?
Totally. Like, for example, when I'm like, hey, I want to get a pork chop and I want a porterhouse, and it's two of us or it's three of us, and then the porterhouse comes out and I'm like, all right, well, this part's all fat and my friend won't eat that. And this part has a really small fillet. So is this really a porterhouse? And you know what I mean? And then you're just like, I wish I would have got the fucking pork chop. You know what I mean? It's like when you start allowing, I think, the staff to interpret what you want too much, then you blame them. And
it's a rare gift. It's a rare gift to be able to like read a table properly and not just do kind of like a rote thing, right? To understand what a person may or may not be actually looking for when they say something like that.
And it's also just like when I see children, and this happens all the time, I feel like most staff members see children and your automatic response is, way to fucking take over two of my seats. Now all the people around me are not going to have a good time, so I got to compensate for that. Shit's about to be on the floor, and I don't want to walk up to a table and give them every reason not to come in because I don't want it to be completely transparent that I don't want them to eat there. You know what I mean? It's not about the guest experience.
It's about the long term. It's also like hopefully it's like those guests having a young child, myself, right, and trying to be careful about it. In many cases, certainly it's not enjoyable for the parents in many situations, also, which is why I was curious why they'd chosen to go to that restaurant with carpet and shit like that on the floor. Like, you know what I mean?
And don't you think that
and like upholstery
with two kids, one stroller, it's just like isn't sometimes like in the mindset of a parent. I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know, but isn't the mindset of a parent like, let's just fucking get these kids down. Let's get a juice in their hand. Let's fucking settle this.
Sometimes, but you know what? You don't want to like, how many years of your life you're sacrificing, not just like doing that simple thing, like stopping into a restaurant and having a good meal. Look, you get it backfires many times, but you want to be able to leave the option open sometimes to be a little bit, you know, sporadic sometimes, right? Without just locking yourself in home. But also those customers could have been like, they'll be there when they had no children and be there when their children are older also. So you get to look at the whole context of it, right? The whole arc of that relationship with the customer. It's a fact of life. People are going to have kids. You need a place for strollers.
And look,
you want to,
I'm the first one to talk shit on kids, and I'm also the first one to come with the crayons and make eye contact with the kid and get down on the knee level.
Yeah,
and
you know how to,
ask
you
them
know
what
how
they
to get,
want.
You know how to get that 20% tip on a $18 bowl of buttered pasta?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right. No, I mean, no. I think the right thing here is what I would have done to diffuse the situation, were I a front of the house person, would have been like, hey, can I get some milk or something for you guys? Like, I want them to feel like there's a comfort there right away. Even if later they're like, hey, this is all spicy shit, and I don't know what mouth-numbing Szechuan button, fucking carpaccio means, but this might not be the place. And that's when I go, hey, the milk's on me. I'll see you later. And then what I've done is the following. I've convinced those people that maybe they should give a restaurant a chance later down the road. Also, if they decide to write on Yelp, they're going to say, oh, the server was so nice. He brought some milk out right away. And then when they leave, I'm going to go into back to the service area.
My kid's lactose intolerant.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, how do you fucking navigate being a good front of the house person and making suggestions without But in this case, if they leave, I'm like, here's a little to-go cup for the milk. And then I go in the back. I tell the busboy,
to-go cups. Yo. Plastic glassware with kids is so key.
Absolutely.
How many times have I gotten like a nice little glass?
Here's
like,
a
with
Riedel
orange juice in it. Like,
here's a Riedel glass for you and your kid.
But some places got it down, like a nice plastic with something around it, with a lid on top and a straw that they can play with for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, the curly ones.
Anyway, don't need to go too much further down that rabbit hole, but I thought it was an interesting experience, especially what continued on in that restaurant was that the staff was a little bit, they just didn't have their wits about them in a little bit. There was like one person who was running around trying to manage all the tables, and I thought there was no issue with this table with the kids.
Right.
Apart from the fact that they probably should have been informed more before they even sat down, I would guess. Let
me ask you, Tony. Right? Was there a part of you, that built-in service masochist, that felt like you wanted to step in and be like, hey, parents, this menu is pretty crazy. Not sure if this is the right spot.
I just watched these.
Did it feel good?
I'm just like, well, because it could have gone another way. I was like, first off, I was like, man, here's the family who's just like bringing their kids into a fancy place, and I'm sure they're going to be well behaved, and it felt bad.
Show you up,
right? Like, yeah, showing me up, like, well, my kid's home in front of the TV, like getting peanut butter all over the place, like. He wasn't, by the way. But, that's the vibes.
Putting the appropriate bombs down for future kids that come to visit you, and then all of a sudden there's like a rash at the Ayazi house.
I personally felt a little vindicated, right? That, they didn't get it to work out, and who knows where they had to go. They had to go to stand up at the taco place down the street with nachos or something. I'm not sure. But then the staff also was and this is we should probably get into this on another show, because I want to get a little deep into it, is like the prices for food in restaurants these days. And the disparity between like how do I articulate this? The disparity between the service you're getting and the prices that the restaurant have to command. It feels like that is getting wider, right? It's like because I'm okay spending whatever, right? If the experience also matches suit. And this is, an old chestnut that goes back in good service, bad meal, bad service, good meal, all that kind of jazz, right? But I feel like it's becoming more the norm to have kind of a disjointed and janky service experience while the cost of the food is getting ever higher.
Exorbitant. And I'm with you, Tone. It's one of those things, and again, the before pandemic, after pandemic, But do you remember when $100 a head was like a badge of honor, was like something special? It was like, yo, that's $100 a
Yeah,
head,
of
that
course.
meal. That was like a high-end steakhouse. That was a dinner at Danielle. That was like essentially, I feel like the measuring stick of, okay, it's fancy or it's expensive, right? I feel like
Sure.
$100 a head is normal now.
Yes, true. But also, I don't want to, we know intimately because of our day jobs that the input costs of restaurants are increasing dramatically, right? So it's not
Yes.
just restaurants increasing prices, right? The cost of everything is increasing. But how you can help mitigate that is providing a great service experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
that's
it feels a little bit hit or miss. Well, let me just tell you briefly about how my lunch continued on. We're there, we're loving it. The place is beautiful. We're happy to be in New York and have some free time to ourselves. And the plate started coming out quite slow. Like we got the spicy cucumber salad, right? And it's like a little bowl, I don't know, $15 or whatever. And it comes out, and you demolish it, it's gone. And then you're just sitting there with cucumbers for a minute. And they'd informed us that dishes come out as they're ready. I'm like, sure, that's great. But you figure that the pace of that, things are going to come out before you finish one, right?
Right.
Like you figure it's just going to start ending up on the table, right? That one of those kind of things. No, the cucumbers came out like immediately, and then nothing happened for a little bit. Then one of the entrees, that chicken mala, which was fantastic, came out. The spicy chicken finger thing.
okay. Yeah.
Which was great.
Fancy finger. Fancy restaurant finger.
And then we had sweet and sour prawns, which were fantastic and cheaper than the mala chicken, interestingly enough.
How?
I have no idea. Mala chicken was $34 and the sweet and sour prawns were $32.
Well,
how's it
I mean,
cheaper?
not that much of a difference. You know why it's cheaper?
No, but
Because
prawns and chicken? Come on.
No, I get it, but you know why? It's because every other parent that sits there with their kids is getting that first, and they're like, you know what? If you're gonna eat here, eat, then we're gonna charge you for the tenders. It's got to be a go-to.
Get off. It's not about the kid. The kids are gone. The kids have already left. Get that out of your head.
I know.
It's not happening anymore. It was, and I don't want to harp.
It makes no sense. Was it a head on prawn?
I get.
Was it a head on prawn?
No.
Okay. I don't
But
know.
I thought it was like
know
a
how you
fun little
justify
sweet and
it.
sour vibe. Flavors are really good. Well, this is going to get into a point that I want to bring up, and it's not. Again, I'm not hammering pricing. I'm just trying to understand which way the industry is going. And then they forgot. They forgot to put some other stuff in the POS. Apparently,
Oh, like the order got fucked up.
the order got fucked up, right?
Okay.
And so we got those two of the entrees, and we got the.
Did they blame it on the kitchen?
They couldn't. It's an open kitchen. It's right there. And also,
so they would
I saw
hear 'em.
the staff kind of change, right? And I'm not really sure why they have an open kitchen there, unless it's kind of for that Chinese experience where there's steam coming up and it feels kind of like street food vibey. Otherwise, there's no real reason for an open kitchen there. And I thought it was an odd choice, but whatever. That's beside the point. But it was one young waitstaff running around trying to kind of do everything. And then the manager comes out and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is inexcusable. They forgot your food. It'll be right out. Desserts on me."
Isn't that what saves everything every time, right? We're gonna put some bad timing behind the last thing that we sent you to. Don't worry.
Well, I don't really mind. I want the food.
Of course.
I don't really care. I don't need.
But this is that awkward
Dessert.
moment, Tony, because I've eaten Chinese cucumbers with you as well, and I know the deep love you have for Chinese
Love 'em.
cucumbers.
Yeah.
Spicy, not
Just
spicy,
bring me more of those.
garlicky. Well, and here's the
don't-
thing, is that I'm sure you were internalizing that you wanted to just devour that entire bowl. Like Tony and I go to get any Chinese food, and there's two orders of Chinese cucumbers. One that go along with the other dishes, and one that just gets woofed.
So
Right?
refreshing and delicious.
You don't have to defend yourself, my friend. I am team Chinese cucumber. I actually made it for my mom the last time I was with her.
I
With
like that
cilantro,
one in
garlic.
Philippines though, where they they beat the
Mash
cucumber
it.
with a spoon first before they chop it. Yeah, I think that
It's-
really adds something.
It's the best. But so then,
But
it
anyway,
turns
there's more
out-
to the story. There's more.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it
Well, no, we
turns
got the
out that-
entrees, and then we got the thing. They forgot something, and then
Okay.
the rice came at the end of the meal. Like the rice came like after, like so it just kind of one of these things just kind of snowballed right into
doom.
and it was very odd that there was no reason for it. Like I'm watching the whole interactions, and I can see the kitchen. I can literally see the kitchen. I can see it was not busy. Maybe 8 other people in the restaurant, and we were kind of talking about a busy restaurant versus a slow restaurant. And these things can happen within the same day. Like as soon as things slow down, it's like the wheels just start coming off. I was curious if that might have been what it was, but you know, for something to not get rung in when it's 10 feet from the table to the point of sale, that's kind of an awkward situation.
It's also
It's not an awkward
just like,
situation. How does that happen, right?
how does it happen?
And everybody's looking around
especially
each
if you're
other
not
like,
busy.
where did this? Yeah, the wrong the wrong food was brought to our table once. We're like, no, that's not ours.
Really?
It's somewhere else.
Have
I
you
think
ever-
what happened was like they could see that like some things were getting. The manager was kind of going back and forth, and some things started getting a little bit messed up, and you could kind of feel it. Even for such a small, like not that much action. And then it was kind of all hands on deck. And everybody started coming in and like sticking their fingers around and like pulling it back together, you know?
Now, wouldn't you say though, in some positive light, the fact that a manager even noticed and came by, that's a good thing.
I'm, you know, the whole thing to me was just,
It all felt a little off.
It wasn't entertaining. You know what I mean? It was just like, I was just, watching the dance,
I love watching
right?
people
It was
drown.
all unfolding.
I love watching people drown, dude.
I didn't
love
say
it.
that. I didn't say that. You're
I
saying
know
that.
you didn't.
I
I'm saying
did not say that I loved watching these people drown. I was just kind of, I didn't have anywhere to be. I was just happy to be, you know, in a nice, comfortable place and a beautiful, eating good food, you know, and I was just kind of, could have taken an hour longer. I wouldn't have minded so much, right? It just, it was interesting from an industry perspective to see how that can, to see how those mechanics all have to fit together, also specifically every hour of every shift. And then as soon as it starts to get wonky, it gets really wonky, but the prices on the menu don't change, right? So it's like, how do you fit those two things together always? And then the stress starts coming back, and I just want to like start drinking.
Or I mean, the other option is you just go right back into the kitchen. You're like, hey guys, these tickets haven't been fired. You're like organizing their line.
I did want to whip those kitchen guys into place. They were kind of like, you know,
just chilling.
Like, it is an open kitchen, guys. Like, you know,
so you can see everything. You know, it's
Yeah.
interesting, Tony, because to that point, I went. So a buddy and I tried a very busy restaurant that's close to the house, and it's like, it's busy all day. And something very similar happened to us, and this is going back to that busy restaurant. So we come over, we go to this place. It's fucking packed. It's noisy, but like the servers have got their pace down. They like show up as soon as they hit the table. They're gonna ask you what kind of water you want. They've already got bread. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's like that kind of stuff that like right away you're like, oh, well, there's something for us to munch on while we watch the chaos that is around us, you know? And I think it's an important thing for kids. It's like you're a large child at that point. Like, give me some bread, give me some herb butter. Like, the fact that it's nuts around here is fine if I have something to put in my fucking face, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, and then, so, but our server comes over, takes our order, gets everything going, and then we never see him again. Like, never see him again. And somebody else starts showing up with waters, with food, with whatever. And there was like a good transition, but it wasn't like clear to us why the person who took our order never showed up again. Then I'm like, you know, so the first plates come, empanadas and stuff, and they're delicious. And it's not like the best food ever, but it's like fast. You can tell like the kitchen is just pumping food out, and they just want to turn tables. The hostess is getting her ass kicked. Everybody's busy.
It's like a little guilty pleasure type of thing in a way, I would imagine. Like the food is, you know.
It's like the fast, it's sandbagged, but sandbagged in the sense that even if you pre-sear 100 steaks, they're all going to be gone in an hour. Like, what's the big deal? Who cares, right?
Yeah.
And we said to the server, we're like, hey, what happened to the first guy? Because we like, he was good. We hit it off. like, oh, great choice in the cocktail because I got like a vermouth and soda, which is like, oh, you're not a classic American, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like he was expecting me to get a Stella. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Anyway, so we say, what happened to Nestor? He was like over here, and they're like, this restaurant's so busy, but there's like very specific laws. Like you can't work more than 6 hours without a half-hour break. And when you guys came in, you came in at 5 hours and 49 minutes into his shift. He got you started, but we have this system where we cover for each other because by law he has to take a break. And so he's like taking his break, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, you guys don't share that with the. He's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, we're so fucking busy here that there's constantly breaks and turns and whatever. And so it was just one of those things where I'm like, in any other restaurant, it could have been really janky. They did a really good job of transitioning from one person to another and whatever. But it's kind of like the beauty of the restaurant. And you could tell these guys, I mean, they're going to do 1,000 covers today. And 1,000 covers for them is what they do every day. It's like scratching their own back. Well, which is not easy to do, but it's like brushing their teeth. You know what I mean? Like they got it down. And it really got me thinking, like, you know what? We need to get behind defending the busy restaurant. And it sounds like this restaurant that you were at could have dealt with being a little busier.
You don't got to defend the busy restaurant. They don't care what you have to. They don't care. What is Yogi Berra's famous quote? Nobody goes there anymore. It's too busy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nobody goes there. It's too busy. So you going to go back to this market that you discovered?
Oh, the market was amazing. Yeah, I would love to go back. And I had a great time. The food was good. You know what I mean? I didn't have any. I know that the service will figure it out, right? I'm not concerned about that. I wasn't so off-put that.
Something I gotta ask you then.
Plus, they take a bunch off the bills. I'm like, all right.
All right. Did you get what was the dessert you got for free?
Mango tapioca thing with a little chili thing. And there was also one of those Japanese cheesecakes, which I've always seen.
Oh,
like
the super big, fluffy tall ones that like jiggle.
Yeah, they have those in the mall in Manila on the way to the office. And I always want to grab a whole one and just eat the whole thing. They had that. They had this kind of a green powder. I didn't really get that much of it. I just had a little bite, and I wasn't in the mood for dessert anyway. So I wasn't like going for it. But I didn't. It was a little bit less. Anyway, let me reserve my judgment until I've had a proper taste of it. But I'm gonna try to get one of those when we're in Manila next week. Holy moly!
And just explain to everybody how badass you are as a parent, and how incredibly badass your child is. If you guys had landed at this restaurant, could you have salvaged an order? Do you think those little chili cucumbers would have made it?
That's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. I would not have tried. There was no.
You wouldn't have tried.
I wouldn't have even. Okay. I wouldn't have had. There was no reason for me to do that. It wouldn't. There's plenty of things he will eat within half a block. So go for that.
All right. Well, that means that I'm inviting your kiddo to Park one day. I can't wait to see him take down some oysters, a little carpaccio.
I guarantee you, Park has some butter pasta with too much Parmesan. I guarantee you, they have that ready to go for $25.
Cacio pepe, just modifier, no pepper. There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I look forward to our next adventure, Tony, because at this point, it might be our next eating adventure is going to be in Manila, and we'll just have to do double cucumber.
Sounds good to me.
Everybody out there, in case you didn't know, we're going to remind you every freaking time where Tony and I have embarked on an adventure called OverSeasoned TV. And if you want to watch Tony rip it on an Argentinian parrilla for all of the different chefs that we met in Argentina, make your way to YouTube. And by the way, there's also a pretty funny video of me embarrassing myself doing a wine tasting, a blind tasting of Malbecs. So please join us on YouTube to check out OverSeasoned TV. We'll catch you guys soon.
Thank you.
OverSeasoned podcast was brought to you by Over Easy Office, outsourced bookkeeping solution.